Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the Nameless Storyteller. I will be your guide as we explore stories new and familiar, fantastic and close to home, but always from the public domain. Tonight, I'll be reading two selections from the Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa, The Milky Way and Milky Way Second Part, both written sometime after October 31st, 1914. Join me, won't you? The Milky Way. With sinuous phrases of a venomous spirituality, rituals of ragged purples, mysterious ceremonies contemporary with no one, sequestered sensations experienced in another non-physical body that is both body and physical in its own way, interleaving subtleties, some complex, some simple. Lakes above which hovers with pellucid clarity a hint of dull gold, and tenuously free of ever having once been made real, doubtless by certain serpentine refinements, a lily clasped by very white hands. Packs made between torpor and anxiety, dark green, tepid to the eye, lodged wearily between sentinels of tedium. Mother of pearl of futile consequences, alabaster of frequent macerations, gold and purple-edged sunsets as diversions, but no ships setting sail for better shores, no bridges leading to longer twilights. Not even the idea of ponds, many ponds, glimpsed from afar through poplars or perhaps cypresses, depending on the deeply felt syllables with which the hours spoke their name. Which is why there are windows that look out onto harbors, the continuous pounding of waves against docks, a confused, crazy, self-absorbed retinue like opals among which amaranths and terebinths write insomnias of understanding on the obscure walls of hearing. Threads of rare silver, bonds of unraveling purple, beneath the lime tree's futile feelings, and along paths edged with boxed, silent, ancient couples, sudden fans, fake gestures, and doubtless superior gardens awaiting the placid weariness of nothing but more avenues and paths. Quincunx patterns of trees, arbors, grottos, flower beds, fountains, the art left behind by dead masters, who, in between inner duels between dissatisfaction and the obvious, designed whole processions of dream matter down to the narrow streets of the ancient villages of feelings. Marble melodies in distant places, reminiscences joining hands with us, casual, indecisive glances, sunsets in fateful skies, growing dark among stars, hanging over the silences of decaying empires. To reduce sensation to a science, to make psychological analysis a microscopically precise method, an aim that occupies, like a steadfast thirst, the center of my will. It is between sensation and my awareness of it that all the great tragedies of my life occur, in that shadowy, indeterminate region of forests and burbling water. Indifferent even to the noise of our wars, flows the self I struggle in vain to find. I lie recumbent in my life. My sensations are an epitaph, a long gongoristic poem covering my dead life. Death and sunset befall me. The most I can sculpt is my tomb for inner beauty. The great doors of my detachment from life open onto infinite parks, but no one walks through them, not even in my dream. They stand eternally open to the futile and eternally closed to the false. I pick the petals off lost glories in the gardens of inner pomp, and past dreamed box hedges I clatter down dream paths leading to the obscure. I built whole empires in the obscure, in the shores of silences, in the tawny war in which the exact will meet with defeat. The man of science recognizes that he himself is his sole reality, and the only real world is the world given him by his sensations. That is why, instead of following the false path of trying to adjust his sensations to those of other people, and thus make science objective, he strives rather after a perfect knowledge of his world and his personality. Nothing is more objective than his dreams. Nothing is more his than his consciousness of himself. He hones his science on those two realities. It is very different from the science of the scientists of ancient times, who, far from seeking the laws of their own personalities and the organization of their dreams, sought the laws of the outside world and the organization of what they called nature. Milky Way, second part. In me, the habit of dreaming and the ability to dream are primordial. Ever since I was a quiet, solitary child, the circumstances of my life, along perhaps with other obscure hereditary forces that have molded me from afar and tailored me to their own sinister pattern, have made of my spirit a constant flow of daydreams. Everything that I am is bound up in this, and even the part of me that seems farthest removed from the dreamer belongs without a doubt to the soul of one who only dreams, a soul raised to its highest level. As best I can, and purely for the pleasure afforded by self-analysis, I would like to put into words all the mental processes that in me are but one thing: a life devoted to dreaming, a soul brought up only to dream. When, as I almost always do, I view myself from the outside, I recognize that I am entirely unsuited to action, easily perturbed by the need to take steps or make gestures, uncomfortable when talking to others, lacking sufficient insight to entertain myself by grappling with spiritual matters, and lacking, too, the necessary physical coordination to apply myself to any merely physical work. It's only natural that I should be like this. Any dreamer understands that this is how it is. Any reality troubles me. Other people's conversations throw me into a state of terrible anguish. The reality of other people's souls is a constant surprise to me. The vast unconscious network that lies behind all actions seems an absurd illusion, with no plausible coherence, nothing. But if you think that I must therefore be ignorant of other people's complex psychological processes, that I must lack a clear understanding of other people's intimate thoughts and motives, you're mistaken. For I am not merely a dreamer, I am exclusively a dreamer. The single-mindedness with which I cultivate the habit of dreaming has given me an extraordinary clarity of inner vision. Not only do I see in frightening and at times disturbing relief the figures and backdrops of my dreams, but just as clearly I see my abstract ideas, my human feelings, what's left of them, my secret impulses, my psychological attitudes towards myself. I mean that I see my own abstract ideas in me. I see them with real internal vision, inhabiting a genuine inner space, and thus the smallest detail of their meanderings is visible to me. That's how I have come to know myself so completely, and knowing myself completely, I know humanity just as completely. There is no base impulse, no noble instinct that has not flashed upon my soul. I know the gestures that accompany each one. I know evil ideas for what they are, whatever mask of goodness or indifference they put on. I know what it is in ourselves that struggles to delude us, and so I know most of the people I see around me better than they do themselves. I often apply myself to studying them in depth, because that way I can make them mine. I conquer the psyche I analyze. because for me, to dream is to possess. And so you see, it is only natural that a dreamer like myself should also possess these powers of analysis. That's why plays are one of the few things I enjoy reading. Every day I put on plays inside myself, and I know all there is to know about drawing up a Mercator projection of the soul. But the truth is, I derive little entertainment from this. Dramatists constantly make the same gross, vulgar mistakes. I've never yet found a play that satisfied me. Having seen human psychology with the clarity of a lightning flash illuminating every corner at a glance, I find most dramatists' clumsy construction and character analysis painful, and the little I've read in the genre is as displeasing to me as an ink blot on a page in one of my accounting books. Things from the very stuff of my dreams. That's why I pay such distracted attention to certain details of the external world. To give vividness to my dreams, I need to know how it is that real landscapes and real-life characters appear so vivid to us. Because the vision of the dreamer is not like that of someone who sees things. In dreams, one does not rest one's gaze equally on the important and unimportant aspects of a real object. The dreamer sees only the important part. The true reality of an object lies only in a part of it. The rest is the heavy tribute it pays to the material world in exchange for its existence in space. Similarly, certain phenomena that have a palpable reality in dreams have no reality in space. A real sunset is imponderable and transitory. A dream sunset is fixed and eternal. The person who can write knows how to see his dreams clearly, for that is what it means, to see life as if in dreams, to see life immaterially, taking photographs of it with the camera of his daydreams, on which the rays of anything boring, utilitarian, and circumscribed have no effect, registering only as black on the photographic plate of the spirit. This attitude, which all my excessive dreaming has only made worse, means that I see only the dream part of reality. My vision of things suppresses in them anything that is of no use to my dream. And thus I live always in dreams, even when I'm living in the real world. To me, looking at a sunset within myself or a sunset in the real world are one and the same thing, because I always see in the same way, because my vision is cut to the same pattern. That's why the idea I have of myself is an idea that too many will seem mistaken. In a way it is, but I dream myself and I select out what is dreamable in me, composing and recomposing myself in every possible way until I fit my own requirements for what I should or should not be. Sometimes the best way to see an object is to destroy it, for it survives, although quite how I can't explain, in its own negation and destruction. That's what I do to large areas of my own being, which, once painted out of my portrait of myself, lead to a transfiguration of myself within my own reality. How can I be so sure that I'm not deceiving myself about these inner processes of illusions? Because the process that draws one aspect of the world or a figure from a dream into a heightened reality draws with it an emotion or a thought. It therefore divests it of all claims to nobility and purity, which, as is almost always the case, it has no right to anyway. You will notice that my objectivity is of the most absolute. I create the absolute object and give absolute qualities to its physical reality. I did not flee from life exactly, in the sense of seeking a softer bed for my soul. I simply swapped lives and found in my dreams the same objectivity I found in life. My dreams, which I will deal with elsewhere, exist independently of my will, and often shock and wound me. Often what I find inside myself distresses, shames, some persistent shred of humanity in me perhaps. What is shame, after all? And frightens me. Attentiveness has been replaced in me by uninterrupted daydreaming. I now superimpose on things I have seen, even things seen in dreams, other dreams I carry with me. Once I became sufficiently inattentive to perform well what I referred to as seeing as if in dreams, for that inattentiveness was motivated by perpetual daydreaming and by an, again rather inattentive, preoccupation with the course taken by my dreams. I could superimpose what I dream on the dream I see, and interweave the reality now stripped of its material reality with the absolute immaterial. From this comes my ability to pursue several ideas at once, to observe something and at the same time dream a great diversity of other things, to dream a real sunset over a real river Tahoe at the same time as I dream a dreamed morning on the inner Pacific Ocean. The two dream things mingle without mixing, without really confusing the different emotional state each one gives rise to. Thus I am like someone watching a lot of people passing by in the street and being simultaneously in each person's soul, which presupposes a complete unity of feeling, and at the same time seeing their bodies, which must of necessity be perceived separately, passing one another in a street full of walking legs. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And if there's something you'd like to hear me read, comment down below or email me at the link in the description. Have a lovely evening.